Hello dear students, my name is Gaurav Bansal, your teacher for Indian Economy at GS Core. We are continuing our series of Syllabus Explained, in which we discussed the Indian agriculture last time, and today the topic would be industry, services and infrastructure. Very interesting topic, and on average 1 to 2 questions are coming from this area. Let us look at the broader scheme where it fits. So far we have covered the 5 topics and this is our 6th. So basically we have divided economics into 8 broader topics, out of which it is the topic number 6. The other 5 are there in the playlist. Kindly check them out if this is the first video you have encountered in the series. Now, if we divide these broader areas of industry, services and infrastructure, basically agriculture we have already covered, and if we are looking into the sectors of Indian economy, where we classically divide economy into primary, secondary, tertiary, then agriculture, since it is already covered, we are looking at the remaining areas of industry, services, infrastructure. So first of all, you need to understand the role of each sector in the economy. That what is the role of primary, what is the role of secondary, what is the role of tertiary, and what is the contribution of each. Okay, what is the significance of each, what can we expect from each. So that is important. Then we have industry starting from here. So first you need to understand what is the role of basic industry or heavy industry, or certain essential industries that you need to establish. Then in general you have to study the industry, industrial sector, the policy, etc., which we will look into details later. Then labor also you need to study with this. Okay, and there is one more topic which you will be studying here, that is MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, basically small factories, small industries. So this also we will look into when we look at extensively under each area. Then the next is services based economy. So services otherwise is not mentioned in our syllabus, and we have not even seen many questions. The question related to services are about distribution of economy, and that is more in the nature of tertiary sector. Direct question on services we have not seen actually. Okay, so the question would be more on the services based economy. It will not be on the services sector, it will be about Indian economy, and there we might ask something about services sector. And the question would be either on the contribution of services or the job creation aspect of services. These are the two perspectives from which services can be asked. When we say contribution of services, they might ask you about the role of services in exports. For example, it is services export which have been saving ourselves. Otherwise, we have a huge loss when it comes to the overall export and import in the agriculture and industry. Over there we lose a lot of foreign exchange, but it is services which is saving grace of India. Okay, and it is services which has been able to provide high paying jobs in urban India. So role of services is different, and role of agriculture industry is different. You cannot expect everything from every sector. Then we come into the infrastructure, where we look into transportation, energy, communication and infrastructure finance model, and infrastructure policy also, if we can say. So these are the broader subtopics. Let us look into the specifics. Meanwhile, before we go there, what UPSC talks about in terms of these areas. So in the UPSC syllabus, the words that they have mentioned are effects of liberalization on the Indian economy. This is not even talking about industry. This is overall economy, where services you can interpret. Services is directly not mentioned, but because of liberalization, services based economy is a reality. Our economy has become more and more services oriented as a result of liberalization. So services is indirectly hidden under this topic. Then we have changes in the industrial policy and their impact on the industrial growth. So industrial policy and industrial performance. Then infrastructure, in which they have mentioned energy, port, road, airport, railway, etc. And then the investment models. So this is what UPSC has explained. This is very poorly explained. We really have to expand. Unlike the previous agriculture area, where UPSC syllabus itself was well defined, this is not. Now this is all what we need to study. So you need to study the industrial policy and the industrial development. What has been India's industrial policy in past, then in the 1991 period and onwards. So how did we started with our industrial policy? how over the years this policy evolved, and then the phases of industrial development since independence, and then eventually, basically earlier we discussed in the very first part of our syllabus discussion, and also the second part of syllabus discussion where you cover the planning aspects, that you need to look at the overall planning developments in India and historical achievements in India. So even in that area also you will study this. You do not have to separately prepare this. This area actually will be captured in that segment, and even there we also discuss planning and reforms. So even this reforms area will also be discussed here. So although we have mentioned this separately, when you study planning and reforms, this part of Indian industry you cover actually over there itself. Similarly, in agriculture also, green revolution you cover like that. Then issues for the industry. Now we come to the specific issues. So there is industrial sickness issue, okay? So that certain industries are not able to perform, they face some structural issues, they face some other problems. Then we have the main constraints in the industrial development of India, okay? So why Indian industry is not able to take a big leap, kya problems hai, what are the problems, whether it is finance, that they do not get good money, enough money, whether it is the shortage of let's say raw materials, that we do not have enough minerals in India, or is it something else? Okay, for example, we are outside the global supply chain in majority of industries, that is also a problem. So if somebody in USA wants to procure some electronics, some college students are maybe making a RC plane, okay, they are making some college project in which they are making a drone, then for the components they will look at Alibaba or Chinese websites. Nobody will look at India for that, because India is not known for such components. So when it comes to the industrial components, in majority of area the problem is that, okay, and this is a structural problem, that we are outside the global supply chain. India might be producing that component, but we will not be able to supply that component quickly to USA. China will be able to supply that component to USA very quickly. This is what you mean by the global supply chain. So likewise, you will study many of such constraints, okay? Then impact of the globalization on Indian industry, the international competition and other issues. The industrial financing in India, that small industries particularly suffer because of lack of finance that they face. Then main features of industrial development in India, okay? That's where you have to look at the role of private sector, public sector, okay? And what is the overall employment productivity of Indian industry. So this is also an important aspect that you need to study. So this is basically the feature of industrial development in India. Then the strategies for disinvestment, privatization and MSME features. So basically a review of government policies and also the features of industrial development, how the policies have left an impact on Indian industry. For example, Make in India we adopted. Make in India was adopted to solve certain problems such as ease of doing business. Now how Make in India has affected that? So that is basically you are going to look at, that with the industrial development how different features have changed and what has been the role of different schemes in that. Then you look at the industry in the 21st century, where you will see particularly the recent impact of the globalization, the fourth generation of industrial revolution, for example, the impact of AI, robotics, okay? AI has a big impact, robotics has a big impact, automation has a big impact. So these are certain areas that you need to prepare. These are the recent challenges in industry and also the changing character of industry. Then industry and employment is also a very important area. In the industry and employment area, you have to look at, for example, contribution of industry regarding job creation. What are the issues regarding job creation? Then what are the labor reforms that government has to bring in order to encourage manufacturing in India? Then you also need to understand certain problems that are faced by the industry related to labor. For example, skill development, okay? Then the problems labor face. For example, labor welfare, the informal jobs. Then there are certain patterns of employment. For example, women in employment. So what is the participation rate of women? What is the participation rate in rural areas? What is the participation rate in urban areas? How many women are looking for jobs? How many women are getting the jobs? So you need to study all these patterns. And this is bit data oriented as well. Then government limitations in job creation. So the dependence on industry and its role in the job creation. These two are interrelated. Then the code on wages and the other 4 labor codes. This actually is a topic in the labor reforms. Okay, so likewise, amendment in the bankruptcy code. This is also a topic in the labor reform. So some of the topic we have expanded a bit to give you an idea here. Then contract worker issues. These are also there. So in industry, these are certain recent issues related to labor. And if you look at the nature of questions, a large number of questions are either coming from here or the role of manufacturing in the economy. Then we look at the services. As I told you, direct technical question on services has not been there. Services has always been asked indirectly in the context of economy. For example, the contribution of services. Okay, or why India has become a tertiary economy or tertiary sector based economy, why it directly moved from primary to tertiary and skipping secondary in between. These type of questions are also important. So that is where the contribution of services, you must understand why India is a service economy, specifically what I am talking about. Majority of time this is a question that you are likely to get directly, indirectly. Services related to, for example, inclusive growth. Okay, sometimes they may not ask question on services directly, but ask question on inclusive growth. There also you have to talk about services. Okay, then services export is a very important theme. Then there are certain sectors which are very good for certain examples, case studies, and if UPSC may decide someday, they can ask you a direct question on these areas. For example, IT sector, tourism, retail. These are 3 very important services sectors which you have to study. Apart from that, banking, which anyways you cover in the finance area, so I'm not repeating that here. Then the job creation issue related to industry, services. In the services, we largely have 2 problems. Services are not able to create adequate number of jobs, and we face problem of rural-urban inequality. These are the problems related to the services. So if you look at the overall profile of services, you have to look at the contribution of services. Contribution in terms of their contribution to the GDP, their contribution to the urban areas in India, and high-paying jobs that services only have been able to create. Similarly, the exports that services have created. Okay, so these are different contribution of services. Then even if they may not have been able to create adequate jobs, but they still have created significant jobs. Then specifically you need to know about retail sector, IT sector, tourism sector. So these are also important, and your newspaper cover them very regularly. And then the problems related to the services, the job creation problem and the rural-urban inequality. Basically, whenever any economy grow on the basis of services, you will see the growth will be largely in urban centers, because services sector benefit urban areas more. Now, we will be looking at the last area of the syllabus, that is infrastructure. In the infrastructure, basically, first we need to look at the role and the need of infrastructure in the economy. In fact, if you look at the past 3-4 years, majority of questions are not on very specific aspect. They are very general question on the role and the need, impact of it on the economic growth, contribution of the infrastructure. So these are the questions that are coming. So you really need to understand it very well, how infrastructure improves the economic productivity, how it improves everyday life. People are able to work far away from their home. Rural people are able to look for jobs in urban areas. Because of better roads, they can go on daily basis to urban areas to sell their products, to do their jobs. Children can go to relative far away schools if their villages do not have better schools. But if absence of roads, it is very difficult to do. In absence of infrastructure, it is very difficult to do. Okay, so when schools are shut, now because of better power availability, communication infrastructure, we are even able to conduct online classes. So all of this has been possible because of infrastructure. So all of this is contribution and the impact. That is very important. Then India's schemes and the structure and policy making related to infrastructure. So the most important policy right now is National Infrastructure Pipeline, NIP, which was adopted in 2021. Similarly, NMP, Monetization Pipeline. Okay, so that was also adopted in 2021, and these are your two landmark most important schemes in infrastructure. Then we have new logistics policy which was adopted in 2022, where we want to reduce the transportation cost in production. Then specifically if we look at certain schemes which are anyways part of NIP, but if we expand NIP, then ports, and related to ports, important scheme is Sagarmala. Then regional connectivity scheme Udan. All of these come under NIP, by the way. Multimodal transport system, Bharatmala Pariyojana, transformation in Indian Railway, Bibek Debroy Committee. Okay, so these are certain topics that you need to study in infrastructure. And majorly every infrastructure sector, if you look at it today, except one or two things, is part of NIP, National Infrastructure Pipeline. So basically this is the broader framework for infrastructure. So you should first of all understand what is the framework, and in the broader framework where each component fit. What is the role of roadways, what is the role of seaways, riverways, or basically waterways, and airways. So all of that you need to understand. Then the mass transit, for example the metro trains that are there in urban areas in India, what is their role? Similarly, we have important topic of northeast and the border connectivity. They can ask you about that in your internal security, in fact. Then power production and distribution in India is an important topic. What are the gaps in the production, and more than production, what are the gaps in distribution? Because production wise we have actually gone much ahead, but it is distribution which is a bigger problem. Some states in India already have 24/7 electricity. They have electricity throughout the day and throughout the year almost, whereas there are states in India where electricity has scheduled cuts every day. So those are distribution problems. Then the important topic of renewable energy, electric cars, energy security, and then we come into the infrastructure finance. How do we finance all these very expensive projects? Construction of ports is very expensive, construction of airports is very expensive, construction of highways is very expensive. In fact, smaller countries are unable to do so. They have to take help of China, and China with its predatory policies provide them a loan and then try to undertake those infrastructure. So infrastructure development is a very expensive thing. Recently you have heard about Sri Lanka, how China took over Hambantota port there. Similarly, China did the same with Pakistan regarding Gwadar port, and they did do this to number of countries. So infrastructure finance is a very big challenge. In India, we are solving this problem through government financing and also private sector financing. And when we have to involve private sector financing, we call it PPP, Public Private Partnership. And under PPP in India, we have three types of infrastructure finance model. So BOT, Build, Operate, Transfer, EPC and HAM. So when you will study PPP in detail, you will come across these as well. So this is all that you have to study in infrastructure. So when you look at infrastructure, this is the whole list of issues you need to be prepared with. I hope you have been able to understand what all you need to study when it comes to the sectors of Indian economy. Now let us take some questions here. What kind of questions have come? Let's look at them. Count for the failure of manufacturing sector to achieve the goals of labor intensive exports. Okay. That manufacturing sector in India has failed to achieve the goals of labor intensive exports. Okay. Our exports are not labor intensive. Basically, when we export something, we are not able to create enough jobs with that. This is the question. Suggest measure for more labor intensive rather than capital intensive exports. So very good, important question. It was asked in 2018 because in 2017 we made changes to our foreign trade policy, and we in fact provided special package for the ready-made garments, leather apparels, because these two sectors provides far too many jobs compared to other sectors for the each 1 rupee of export. So basically, for example, if you export 1 crore rupee worth of steel from India, it will create some 20 jobs, let us say. Whereas if you export 1 crore rupee worth of ready-made garments from India, it will create 1400 jobs in India. So this is the difference in steel and ready-made garments, for example. There is a huge difference. So if we have more exports from these areas which create more jobs, it can solve our unemployment problem. That is why we need to promote labor-intensive export rather than capital-intensive exports. And then we cannot even say that we have to export only labor intensive products, because that will be very difficult. For example, India is exporting a lot of iPhones now. Apple is manufacturing a lot in India. In future, we want to develop microprocessors in India, the chip manufacturing in India. Then those will also be exported, but that is highly capital intensive. So it will be mix. One sector will bring us revenue, another will bring us jobs. Okay, so that is how we need to look at it. Then next question, normally countries shift from agriculture to industry and later to services. But in India, we shifted directly from agriculture to services. What reasons for a huge growth of services vis-a-vis industry in the country? So I told you about that. Services based economy, you need to talk about that in this question. Okay, then faster economic growth requires an increased share of manufacturing sector in GDP. So manufacturing should have a higher share in the GDP, and particularly micro, small and medium enterprises. So if we want to grow fast, our manufacturing should also give a push. Unfortunately, it is services which has been lifting Indian economy, and agriculture and manufacturing has been slowing it down. So if others can also provide some speed, Indian economy can grow faster. This is the basic theme here. And then if particularly MSME do well, then it will also create more jobs, it will also create more exports. That will be the benefit if we do it through MSME, small industry. Okay, and then the policies of government in this regard, this is a very recent question in fact. So you have to talk about certain policies that government adopted for small industries. Then next question also on MSME, which were earlier called small and medium enterprises. So bring out the importance of the small and medium enterprises in the conference held in Dubai for Indian business. So even this type of question, very factual question has come. At one point of time, very factual current affairs related questions were coming. Comment on the Bali conference, comment on the Nairobi meet of the WTO. Such questions also used to come, but recently more conceptual, more depth has been involved in the question. Okay, and they're more conceptual, they're more related to syllabus, and they're not current affairs based. If you need to answer them, it's not just based on some current affairs magazine that you read. If you understand the subject really well, then only you can answer. And if you see, ever since UPSC changed the pattern, the marks in the paper 3 have also gone down. Earlier when they were asking these type of questions, students were also getting more marks. Okay, because most of the students who read newspaper are likely to remember it. But if you look at the recent question, 2023 question, this required depth understanding of economy. Next question, there is a clear acknowledgement of SEZ as a tool of industrial development. So this is about industrial development, manufacturing and export interlinkages, which is an important aspect in industry. Then affordable, reliable, sustainable, modern energy. Okay, is part of the sustainable development goals. This is about infrastructure and power, energy security aspect. Okay, then we have investment in infrastructure is essential for more rapid. Basically, why infrastructure is important for economic growth, its role and contribution. Then next question, why PPP required in infrastructural projects? So government alone cannot provide funds because it needs and requires a lot of funds. So we need to involve private sector also. So private sector funding, private sector role, and specific example they asked about railway stations in India. So these type of questions have come. Okay, and if you look at the pattern which we have explained in the syllabus, if you follow that, you are not going to miss any of them. So I hope this session has been able to explain you well what all you need to prepare in this area. Okay, we'll be meeting soon with the next session of the syllabus. Thank you.